and then we will begin. So, ladies, this morning we're going to talk about nutrition and how to get some of that good, much needed brain food into the child who's a finicky eater, picky eater, fussy eater, whatever. So I will share my screen. Now I mentioned, let me say something. I'm going to show about 3 minutes or so of my master class that I'm building. And keep in mind this one thing. So the background music I've not added yet. It'll be fancier than what I'm showing you this morning, and you'll hear my voiceover artist, her voice on there. Now, when you see the blank green screen and she's telling you the next topic, just bear in mind that when I'm all finished, I edit and add another layer to, then the title of what she's saying will be, it's a different animation, digitally. So when you see that blank green screen, just please forgive me because I have a couple more layers I will add to this. Okay, so I'll share my screen and let's see. I want this one. And I'm starting like in the middle, kind of the middle of one of my videos. So don't worry. Oh, just 1 minute. Hold on. I forgot to share sound. See, that's a new habit. Let me go get, you guys can't hear, right? There we go. That one little button to click share sound. Okay. Now we're good to go. And I'll turn it up a little bit too, just to be nice. Make sure you can hear really well. If it's too loud, you can adjust on your end. And here we go.
Called broccoli sprout extract. Many children on the autism spectrum have shown significant improvement in their communication, social responsiveness, and social interaction, and have also reduced aggressive behavior. There are more studies investigating the positive effects of sulforaphane supplements on autistic symptoms. NAC. The NAC supplement is responsible for increasing the level of antioxidants in the body, which contributes to the body's protection against free radicals. Children with ASD have low levels of antioxidants in their bodies, so supplementing them with NAC can be very beneficial. Several scientific studies prove the effects and importance of NAC for autistic children. As a parent with an autistic child, giving them an NAC supplement reduces their irritability and makes them more responsive to communication and interactions with others. Probiotics. Children with autism may have gastrointestinal issues like diarrhea, constipation, and stomach pain. These conditions may include abnormal microbes and inflammation in the digestive tract. The GI tract has gut bacteria that act as messengers, communicating and sending signals to different body parts, including the brain. An imbalance in the gut bacteria can affect the child's attention, mood, sleep, and stress. Probiotics are microorganisms with several health benefits. Digestive enzymes. This is another supplement that helps to combat issues with the digestive tract found in autistic children. Digestive enzyme therapy is used to remove toxic proteins from the body. These harmful proteins contribute to the digestive issues that autistic children suffer from. Combining enzyme therapy with probiotic supplementation effectively improves your child's digestive health. Important note: as important as these supplements are to your child's physical well-being, you must consult with a pediatrician or nutritionist to ensure the proper amounts for your child's body weight and so forth. They will help you determine the right supplements for your children, the right dosage, and the schedule to give them. After spending several years searching for the absolute best way to supplement the diets of children with autism, I finally found a company that meets the need with excellent results. They have also conducted more research studies than any other nutritional company in the world. I appreciate and respect the fact that their standard of excellence in production and growing organically is unmatched by any other company to my knowledge. There is plenty of great information for you about these organic fruits and veggies and how you can sneak them into your child's diet at hopewoodhelps.com under Brain Food.
Okay. So any comments or questions before I show you the next little video with the doctor talking about this?
I thought it was excellent, Hope. Really good. You present the need and then you present an easy solution.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And like I said, there are layers to the actual digital part of my animation stuff. There are a couple more layers I will add to it, but that gives a little taste of what the master class. Basically, I've taken each chapter and turned them into a module. So at the very beginning of each one, you'll hear Lauren say chapter 4, module 4, and then she tells the title and that. Okay, I'm glad you like it. Let me get rid of this. And I'll show you this. This is a doctor who, it's from the videos with Juice Plus that we look at a lot. And his titles and the boards that he has served on and still serving on, it's a long, when the lady goes through it, it's several minutes long, just listening to his qualifications. So I really like how he explains. I learned some things about gluten that I didn't know. I mean, I, removed it from my own diet for some time now, but I didn't realize the history of why and how gluten has become not such a good thing for us. So here we go.
My name is Jennifer Myers, and I want to thank you for joining us. The Healthy Living Revolution is a movement of people who are taking their health back. We're offering an educational series to address some very specific health and nutrition topics with top doctors, researchers, and scientists to bring clarity and simple solutions. Tonight, it's my privilege to be able to introduce to you Dr. Richard Du Bois, and he's going to share some very important information with us about gluten. Dr. Du Bois is a board-certified physician of infectious diseases who is retired from a very active practice in Atlanta, Georgia, where he had been since 1968. His career is highlighted by many awards, honors, and proclamations of prestige from his colleagues. He is the past president of the Georgia Society of Internal Medicine and of the Infectious Diseases Society of Georgia. He is the past president of the Medical Association of Atlanta. He was the medical director of the first maximum containment treatment facility for the Centers for Disease Control. He's held national medical offices and published many manuscripts in peer-reviewed medical journals. Dr. Du Bois has been selected by his peers as one of the best doctors in America every year since 1994. In surveys by Atlanta Magazine, the doctors of Atlanta chose Dr. Du Bois as the doctor they would choose for their own care if they themselves were sick with an infectious disease, including HIV. He's been awarded the Award of Excellence in Teaching at Atlanta Medical Center, where he was chosen as the most valuable physician, and re-elected for 8 years as Chief of Internal Medicine. He was a medical staff member there for 36 years. Dr. Du Bois' retirement from active medical practice has allowed him to accept the position of medical advisor for research at the Juice Plus company. So I just want to thank you for joining us, Dr. Du Bois, and we're really, really just excited to hear what you have to share with us on this very important topic.
Thank you, Jennifer. When we talk about gluten-containing grains, the big three are wheat, barley, and rye. There are others, but they're less popular. But you have to be careful because wheat is every place. You have to be a label reader. It's often present in cornmeal and in oatmeal. It's even present in instant rice and in some soy sauces. So you have to be a label reader when it comes to avoiding gluten. Archaeologists tell us that the first grain consumed by man was einkorn. It contained 14 chromosomes. It met up with goat grass, which also had 14 chromosomes, and the result was emmer. Emmer was the unleavened bread of the Old Testament. But modern wheat has another 14 chromosomes, or 42 chromosomes. Now, we have not yet genetically modified wheat, but all of this is done by hybridization, another word for cross-pollination, to develop different strains of wheat. The last 14 chromosomes have been hybridized many, many times. You will recall we used to sing about amber waves of grain. The grains were about 4 feet tall, 3.5, 4 feet tall. And during the 20th century, planet Earth became dependent on cereal grains, especially on wheat. In order to get more yield per acre, it was heavily fertilized. Well, this resulted in large kernels, which would collapse the stalks of the wheat. Farmers called that lodging, and it was causing starvation around the world. Along came a Scandinavian from Minnesota who developed dwarf wheat and won as many prizes as Nelson Mandela and Sister Teresa, Mother Teresa, because he's given credit for saving 1 billion lives from starvation by the development of dwarf wheat, small, sturdy stalks that could support the heavily fertilized grains. But that's resulted in some changes. The protein of wheat has changed considerably. Wheat has been known as a cause, gluten. The protein of wheat is called gluten. And gluten has been known as the cause of celiac disease, which formerly has been known as a pediatric disorder. During World War II, Holland was faced with starvation, but all of the children with celiac disease got better because they couldn't eat bread. So further investigation revealed it was the protein, the gluten content of the bread, which was causing the disorder. But we now have 5 times as many celiacs in the United States as we've ever had, and it's associated with other disorders of the brain, the intestine, and the skin. In addition to that, there's an entity known as non-celiac gluten sensitivity, which is becoming quite popular, often confused with irritable bowel syndrome, but people are becoming more and more aware of it. Now, in addition to the protein change, there's been a change in the carbohydrate. The carbohydrate content of modern day wheat is very high glycemic. Your blood sugar will actually rise higher from 2 slices of whole wheat bread than from 2 tablespoons of sugar out of the sugar bowl on your table. Because of the protein, there are many, many people who cannot eat wheat. And because of the carbohydrate, there are many, many people who will not eat wheat. But going back to ancient times, there are ancient grains that have been supporting civilizations for centuries, mostly in South America. Amaranth, millet, and quinoa are good examples of that. Now, they're classified as grains, but technically they're seeds, as many as 60,000 on a single blossom. Like soy, they contain all of the essential amino acids from which you can make over 30,000 different proteins that constitute the human body. And unlike wheat, they are very low glycemic. The carbohydrate is complex. And they contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. Now, that's an important consideration because we need to have that mixture of fiber when we're consuming fiber. And most Americans don't get the recommended daily amount of fiber, which is 25 grams for women and approximately 38 grams a day for men. Now, the reason this is important is because you have 10 trillion human cells in your body. But in your body, you also have 100 trillion bacteria. Collectively, these bacteria are known as the human microbiome. And they interact with everything in your physiology. They interact with your immune system, with your circulation, even interact with your brain, making neurotransmitters. So these are.
Okay, so I want to make a comment before I ask you guys for your input with this. You know what I learned from that short little video regarding carbohydrates? That was amazing, amazing, amazing. I had to start paying really close attention to carbohydrates many years ago, about 30 years ago. My firstborn was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And so from that point forward, the way that carbs translate into sugar into our bodies, and I mean, and injections 6 times a day and testing the blood sugar all and setting my alarm in the night to wake up and go check his blood sugar. I felt like I was being trained, as a healthcare like a nurse or something. But what I learned last night watching this is it counteracts so many things I learned about carbs years ago and ever since, that a complex carb, pay attention to those simple carbs. And if it's a complex carb, it's much better because the glycemic index, it's not going to fluctuate your blood sugar as much as a piece of candy or a bowl of ice cream would. And for crying out loud, what I learned from this doctor here just, last night watching these, I pick out what I want to share on Saturday mornings, and the thing is, we all would say and assume, rightly so, that a whole wheat piece of bread, oh, that's a complex carb. Yeah, that's great. And not realizing, I had no clue until I saw this video, how the modification, I'm not going to say GMO, but like he explained, adjusting and creating more chromosomes and just fiddling with our food, right? So now a whole grain, whole wheat slice of bread, a carb is no longer a carb. It's, you can't count on the fact that, oh, that must be a complex carb, that's a good one. And so that's one thing I wanted to say. How does this apply to autism? And I apply my logic here. I mean, our blood sugar can fluctuate quite a bit without the diagnosis of type 1 or type 2 diabetes, without the diagnosis of hypoglycemia, which we know hypoglycemia a lot of times is a precursor to one form or another of diabetes. Nonetheless, the point I'm making is, even those of us who are not diabetic, we're not hypoglycemic, we don't have a diagnosed blood sugar issue, still the blood sugar can fluctuate from in between meals and activity and so forth. And so for autism, the more stable that we can help the kiddos' blood sugar remain, the better off they're going to be as far as learning, paying attention, focusing, the behaviors. I mean, I didn't play all of my little segment there, and I didn't play all of his, but I go into more detail about, how this applies to autism. And I want to get feedback from you guys, what you guys thought about the information. I was blown away. I thought I knew a lot of what I needed to know about carbs, but this guy is very knowledgeable. He proved me wrong. There's still a lot to learn. So, any comments?
Well, I certainly learned more about carbohydrates and glutens and things of that nature. It was informative, Hope, and I do need to be more mindful and be a label reader. And I'm learning, taking notes, and trying to see what's working for Justin, and share kind of with the moms, kind of what I'm learning. So it's a big eye opener for me. It's really it's a lifestyle change far as with your nutrition. There's so many things that can affect the body and the blood, our blood sugar and so forth. And it just is a domino effect. So if you don't get a hold of The main thing is what you put into your body. Obviously, you will have these issues. So I guess I'm just being more mindful of what I'm learning and applying that. So I love the information, Hope. Good stuff. Always good stuff.
I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you.
I just sent you both a video that shows what gluten, the difference of visually, it's very powerful to see it, what gluten, the changes of what they've actually done to gluten, and it helps explain why it's so damaging to us. The information's so valuable, Hope, because so many people don't know what we don't know. And that is exactly what you showed us, because everything in food is changing and we all need to be staying on top of it. Now, this is the perfect reason why the Juice Plus shakes are so powerful. Not only because they're 20 different plants than what's in the capsules or the gummies. And you have soluble and non-soluble fiber. You have plant-based sugar. You have your healthy carbs. You have your protein. But that fiber is so important because it slowly breaks down the sugar from the plants and it produces a stabilized blood sugar, exactly what you're talking about. If we can give our children one shake a day, that will maintain their blood sugar for a long time. Otherwise, what happens is whatever they're eating, their blood sugar is going up, crashing. When it crashes, that's when we become irritable. We just want to raid the pantry and eat anything. There's all kinds of behavior issues that occur because the blood sugar is not stable. So if parents can do it, I highly recommend the Juice Plus capsules plus the Juice Plus shakes, because the combination of them together gives you everything that you need. Well, you still need to eat fruits and veggies, but it goes a long ways in producing great gut health. They have the prebiotics. It's just wonderful for the gut. And it was just great. Hope what you shared this morning is very valuable information for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I think about it, so many moms share with me that their kids with autism, there's a select, you can count on one hand how many foods the child will eat. And I try to put myself in their shoes, like how tough it is to get the nutrition. And one mom I explained, if you take the capsule apart and open it, and you just even a pinch at first, just sprinkle inside the food somehow, because those nutrients, this is another part of the brain research, the brain, the body, the gut, whatever, that when you get a little bit of these extra nutrients into your system, it inadvertently changes your taste buds. In other words, the brain starts recognizing the body's metabolizing something different, and it just is a sneaky way to get those kids to, gradually liking other foods. I know one child that I worked with for, and this family's he's like my poster child. He's one of the ones that have become totally verbal. He was completely nonverbal when I began working with him. But I remember it was about the first, several years of his life. One of the very few things he would eat was Cheetos. And a lot of these kids, you'll count on one hand, these are the items they will eat. And it goes like that for years, no matter how much fussing, bribing, trying, her best, mom, it's an uphill battle. And so one thing I want to say about quinoa, this is like a side note, but like my oldest daughter is a health food nut. I mean, really seriously. And she introduced me to quinoa several years ago. My first time cooking it, it was so interesting. And I'm still intrigued. If I could get a child interested in this, but the quinoa, once you cook it, it's a little tiny circle. It becomes, instead of a round grain that's solid, like it becomes a little bit translucent. and you can see the little tiny circle inside the, I mean, I looked at that. I said, Sarah, look, you know, I ran next to her and she said to her, what's going, look at this, look at this. It's so intriguing. Now, I know I'm crazy. These details, what child is going to get excited about that? But you never know. So I'm a fan of quinoa. I probably should eat it more often. Anyway, I really appreciate knowing, because I've heard a lot of people say gluten and gluten free, and I've heard that for years, but I didn't know why they took their child off gluten. I'm talking, 10, 15 years ago is when I started hearing people talk about gluten. And now I understand a lot of why gluten is not good for you. Chris, regarding that little video, how long is it? How many minutes is it?
6 minutes.
Do you share me your screen, or you can show it if you want, since
Okay.
we're on the subject.
Okay, I've got to bring it up. It's gonna take me a minute.
And let me make sure I give you permission to.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and find it.
Okay. And now, Tamisha, are you doing anything different or in particular for Justin regarding gluten? I mean, today's our first day really talking about this subject, but I know moms of kids with autism, their awareness of things, we all come in contact and become aware of information, as we go along in life and for different reasons. But I know.
Well, we're really just cutting out a lot of the junk, trying to be mindful of that. And again, like you said, Hope, he'll only eat so many things. And so it has been a challenge, but I just keep every day going. And I do see a difference in him. And that's what I'm running with, and then the part that he can't let me know what's going on inside. So if he's feeling good and calmer, then something's working. But just being mindful.
$1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app alone.
Yes, yeah, that's it's one step at a time, and any progress is good.
So really quickly, Hope, what I'm hearing from the moms is the kids with the veggie chewables, they're just not really liking them. And then them asking me what other things they can put the capsules in, other than if their child doesn't like shakes and like yogurts. And my advice to them is, like you said, maybe just a little bit, start a little bit and put it in whatever they may take. But I think they're having an issue with the veggie, even the veggie capsules.
Yeah, the fruit and the berry ones, whether it's the capsules or the chewables, the gummies, either way, the berries and the fruits, they're all going to taste nicer than the veggies. And I tell moms, start with the fruit and say.
Can you hear me, Hope? Because my internet went unstable.
Oh, yeah, now we can hear you. We can hear you. But
okay.
Yeah, I agree with you what you're saying, and I advise the moms, start out with the fruit first, whether it's gummy or the powder. But I would say this is what I suspect and what I've shared with others. Any kind of food that you can stir a little bit of this into. It could be mac and cheese, it could be mashed potatoes, it could be a soup, it could, just anything where, like, it's not a sandwich, it's not finger food, again, I guess with a sandwich, of tuna sandwich or something, you could sprinkle some on, like you would do salt and pepper, whatever, but the child is apt to see it or feel the texture because it's not mixed in. But I would say any kind of, puddings, or of course those have sugar, but any kind of food that you can mix something into, just a little bit of the powder so it's not noticeable. You don't want them to really taste it, just the tiniest amount, and then gradually increase it. That's my, if I were if I had a child with autism, that's what I would be doing myself.
So just have them just start a little bit at it's just a little bit.
Yeah,
and
tiny
that,
bit.
okay.
Because even a pinch of it affects the body. See, if you can imagine in the little capsule, over 30 different organic fruits and veggies. I mean, I don't think I can have enough time in a day to chew that many veggies if that was all I was doing, right? I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I'm really trying to think of this logically. So to me, it says the powerful aspect of that, just getting a little bit into the child's body. And again, just a pinch so they don't notice it. You're sneaking it in there. But the brain will recognize that the body is metabolizing it, and all kinds of good things can take place and changes be made within that child's body. And here you are just sneaking a tiny pinch in there.
That's the beginning. That's exactly right. Because when you take a pinch, it goes to the gut, and the gut identifies that immediately. The gut is very sensitive to what's being put into it. It sends a message to the brain. I like that. So just a little pinch at a time. Now, if the moms can afford the shakes, you can make a pudding out of it. There's smoothie bowls. There's delicious recipes, and they're delicious, I think. I don't know, but you can make a little pudding and then just put a little bit in. It's wonderful to start with the fruit. Just the fruit is going to make an enormous difference, even without the veggies, until they're really liking the fruit. You can start with that. Then you can, and actually you can order, well, if an adult is ordering Juice Plus, they don't do this with the free product, but an adult can order all fruit, all veggie. In other words, for an adult, you don't have to get fruit and veggie. We can put in a special order. So if they want to just stay with the fruit for a long time, or just the berry for a long time, that's going to have a tremendous effect, because though Juice Plus picks the highest quality nutrition available. Like, we don't use strawberries. Strawberries do not have high enough nutrition content to qualify in Juice Plus. So what you're getting is the most power-packed nutrition available in the world, the highest quantity, the highest of what's available. So even that's why a little bit of it can make a difference. And that's a great way to start. That's how I have another video I can show you on that later, or I can send to you of what a mom does. And I'm ready with that other one, Hope.
Oh yeah, let me thank you. Let me mention real quick too, a conversation that you caused me to remember. One mom, she makes homemade popsicles, and that's another place where you stir it in, but you're putting it into that mixture before you freeze the popsicle. And that's another place where they're maybe not going to notice the texture so much, as long as you just start out with a small amount.
Yes. Especially if it's fruit popsicles, if it's a fruit flavor and you're just adding a little more fruit in there, they're not going to notice.
So if someone wanted to order, let's just say just the fruits, we can put in a special order. Is that correct? You said, Chris?
Yes,
for capsules.
For capsules.
On the children's product, because we have the largest study in the world going on of what we say when we say there's 61% fewer doctor visits, that's what I think like 2 million children around there have participated in the free product. Their parents sent in the survey. So for the legitimacy of this, they will not change. The child has to receive the fruit and the veggie. But for the parents' order, they can get all fruit or all veggie or all, either one of those. And then separately,
or berry, they can choose berry.
Separately, they can order all berry. That's all available for them.
That's good to know. We learn something new every day. That is so good to know. So you want to show the video?
Sure, here it is.
Thanks.
I love this video. Oh, wait, okay.
Wouldn't it be neat if we could actually see it and touch it and imagine how it's processed by our bodies? In today's experiment, we're going to look at two different doughs, a traditional all-purpose wheat flour dough and an einkorn dough. This is going to be super fun, so stick with us. Before we get started, let's look at the two different flours we're going to be working with today. First is just your traditional all-purpose wheat flour. The second is an einkorn flour from Young Living. And the difference between traditional wheat and einkorn wheat is that einkorn is an ancient variety of wheat. As opposed to modern wheat, which has 42 chromosomes, einkorn has only 14. Modern wheat, bread flour, all-purpose flour, and whole wheat flour being the highest in gluten, contains almost 10% gluten. Einkorn contains about 1.2%, so it's much lower in gluten. This experiment is going to give us a good representation of what that actually looks like in real life in a way that we can look at and touch. One note about the einkorn flour I use from Young Living is that Young Living purchases only virgin farmland. That is farmland that has never been treated with pesticides, herbicides, or chemical fertilizers. It's grown sustainably, it's non-GMO, and of absolutely the highest quality. So today we're going to work with both these flours, and you're going to see for yourself the difference in the amount of gluten that they contain.
Oh, and if everybody could mute yourselves, I hear some background noise, please. Thanks. Her countertop looks just like mine. I feel right at home.
Next, I'm going to weigh both balls of dough to ensure they're the same size so that it doesn't affect our results. This one's 414 grams, and that is our ball of wheat dough. And our ball of einkorn dough is also 414 grams. Now on to the next step. As you can see, there's virtually nothing left in the strainer. There's not even enough for me to gather into a ball to compare with the wheat flour. All the starch is rinsed away, and there's no gluten, really, to speak of, left in the strainer. So as you can see with the wheat flour, I continue to rinse and rinse and rinse until the water ran clear. And this wad has all of the starch rinsed away, and this is not going anywhere. I continue to rinse it and it never got any smaller. So this is all of the pretty much straight up protein, the gluten that's left from that 414 gram ball of dough. Wow. Look at that. Look at how stretchy and rubbery it is. My goodness. Huge difference between the einkorn and the wheat flour. Huge difference. So that is the gluten that's left from that one little orange-sized ball of wheat flour dough. Can you imagine having that in your intestines? Trying to digest it and break it down?
No, it's, wow, it's like rubber. It's
Yeah.
very elastic. it certainly makes it gooey and gives it the texture that people probably want.
Yep.
But I'm sure your intestines just abhor it.
And you wonder why so many people have problems with digestion and their skin, because your skin is your body's largest organ of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't eliminate through your bowels, you're going to push all your toxins out through your skin.
Mm. Wow.
And there was nothing left from the einkorn. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing at all. I couldn't even gather it into a ball. There was nothing left. It all rinsed away.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
And the taste to me is superior.
Yeah. Yeah, those muffins you made were excellent. Of course, everything you make is excellent.
All right, that's all, folks. Wow, wasn't that incredible? I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it and conducting the experiment. Now, my challenge to you is to go and try a box of einkorn flour from Young Living.
So I wanted to tell Rajani that I think, I'm not sure if you were on the call before when they said this, but what she's describing in that box there, the einkorn, that's what we had way back in the day before the farmers, the growers, the manufacturers, before people started fiddling with our wheat and changing the strain of wheat so it would be short, the stalks are shorter, it would, withstand all the fertilizers and whatever. But that's what we had, the einkorn. And there was one other one that they meant, the doctor mentioned. That's what we had. And I didn't realize the history of gluten and how and why it has become not such a healthy thing for our bodies. Did you want to say something, Chris?
Did you feel that was a good visualization of, you can see what's happening in our guts and why it's affecting us so negatively?
Yes. And the fact she's rinsing it and that the white fluffy type, making the water all turn milky looking. I mean, you can see with your own eyes, it's rinsing the gluten away. And it's rinsing the part that's not the gluten, and the gluten is what remains. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was a good visual. I really liked it. And I didn't realize there was so much to learn about gluten until I just knew last night, okay, let's see. I guess a few days ago, I said to myself, I want us to talk about nutrition this Saturday. And then last night when I was searching around and studying these different and pick and choosing what I wanted to share, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I never knew about gluten. Rajni, good morning, and I'm glad you're here. Do you have any comments or questions or any input regarding the gluten and the carbohydrate factor?
Good morning, Hope.
Good morning.
Sorry, we are on vacation, so for last 1 week, so that's why I joined it pretty late.
That's okay.
Yes, when I stopped gluten from my baby's food, then I noticed all the rashes all over her leg is gone now. Because as it said, toxins would release from your body if it is not able to be released by intestine. So actually I think that is what was happening. And once I cut off the gluten, and it has been actually more than 2.5 months, her all the rashes from her legs have gone.
Wow, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very exciting. Something else that I want to share, and you caused me to just now think of it too. We were talking earlier about carbohydrates and the fluctuation of blood sugar. Even if a person's not hypoglycemic or diabetic, we can have a great fluctuation in our blood sugars. The normal range, I think, technically is like 70 to 120 as far as the glucose level in your bloodstream. But the thing is, this is what I want to mention about insulin. Our bodies produce insulin to control the blood sugar levels, blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
And I learned this just a few years ago. It blew my mind. The more carbs we take in, the more insulin our bodies have to produce. And
Yeah.
even though insulin, I mean, it can be a life and death matter when a diabetic or, you know, any of us,
Mhm.
we either our bodies, our pancreas did not produce the level of insulin we needed, or we're diabetic, we just can't, right? Or like with type 2, you're just not absorbing the insulin. Nonetheless, insulin saves our life. But on the other side of the coin, too much insulin is not good. I didn't realize that insulin can be damaging to our bodies. So what does that mean? The more carbs we eat, the
Mhm.
more we force our bodies to pump out the insulin to control all those carbs and blood sugar levels. Um, our bodies can actually start experiencing inflammation for one of many things. Insulin causes a lot of problems in the body, including inflammation and many other things. When there's too much of it, we're producing and I'm not saying too much where you're hypoglycemic. I'm just saying I was blown away a few years ago when I learned that fact. So a high carb diet of any form, any carb, the best carb on the planet. It's not good for us to have a heavy carbohydrate diet, you know, just because, like I said, and I know I'm repeating myself, but just mind boggling. Insulin saves our life every day, every minute. It keeps us level. I mean, I won't even go off on a tangent, but at the same time, insulin saves our lives. It also creates havoc in our bodies when we're on a high carbohydrate diet and wearing out our pancreas producing all that insulin. So anyway, Chris.
Yes. Rajni, did you say, I didn't hear quite everything, but did you say that your daughter had a skin issue clear up?
Yes.
Okay, I've known 3 children myself personally. Does she eat Juice Plus? Okay, I've known 3 children personally who had eczema, who had her skin issues were debilitating. She couldn't even go to school. And Juice Plus cleared that up. So I think it's a combination of Juice Plus too, because what that does is that balances the immune system and gives the body the ability to heal itself. So the combination of both of those two together are very powerful.
Yep, it is. It's amazing. Amazing good stuff. So before we go, are there any other comments or questions or anything? I'm so happy to see your lovely faces. And I think next week I'll pick another segment out of the master class. Rajani, were you on here when I showed a little tiny segment of the master class?
Oh no, I missed it. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
and you know, I've started putting these on YouTube. So you go to my
Oh,
YouTube
that's
channel. Yeah,
great.
each Saturday morning I just render the video and share it on YouTube so you can see.
So it is under your thing, right? Hopewood, under where I subscribed. Okay,
Yes. And
that's great.
it's YouTube, and then Autism Plus Communication, I think, is the little the way that you look me up. I believe. I should know that, right? I'm pretty sure that it is. Anyway, so you ladies have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for being here, and enjoy your vacation. I know summer's almost over. I don't like the heat, so I'm always happy when summer's almost over.
Yeah, definitely. And Hope, I know the email. I will reply to it. Please give me 2-3 more days.
Oh yeah, no problem. Well, the email might have been just a reminder about this morning. I
Okay.
think. I think.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's all it was.
Oh yeah, but I saw that and I was like, okay, and I will reply to it. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, yeah, no hurry. No worries at all. I know you moms are busy gals. So I love you guys
Love
and
you, Hope. Thank
Bye.
you.
thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.